Hello YouTube, it's me John Avenger once again, and welcome to another Capes and Beyond month. Ooh, this is another terrible one, just like with Almighty Thor. No, this is better than that, but not by much. It's a 1997 American superhero film based on the Image Comics character of the same name, directed by Mark A.Z. Dipe, I think it's French. The film stars Michael Jai White in the title role alongside Leguizamo, Martin Sheen, Teresa Randall, D.B. Sweeney, and Nicole Williamson in his final film role. The film depicts the origin story of the title character, a murdered U.S. Marine who is resurrected as a reluctant leader of Hell's Army. Spawn is one of the first feature films to feature an African-American actor portraying a major comic book character. Yes, that is true. And it sucked. Yeah, this movie sucked. Its PG-13 holds it back. The goofy tone, like sometimes it's really dark when it gets murdered, and then other times when Leguizamo shows up as the violator, it's a cartoon, and it's a bad cartoon. And this CGI is horrible. It's some of the worst I've seen in a big budget movie in the theater, because Almighty Thor was a direct-to-video movie. It had no chance of being good. This could have been good. And while it made a profit worldwide, because it made about half its budget was 40 to 45 million, there is no excuse for these effects. The makeup effects are good. Some of the practical effects are good, like the weapons and the costumes, and also the violator when it's not horrendous CG at the end. It looks fine, but the CGI in this movie is horrible. This is Mortal Kombat Annihilation bad CGI, which came out in the exact same year. I don't know what it was about movies in '97 that the CGI was horrible. I've seen movies from '97 that look better than this, that were not this horrendous CGI. Independence Day was a year before this, and it was way better. It had good practical effects, and the spaceships looked really good. This is just horrendous. Miko Hughes is in the movie. He's a kid. He's not annoying. Leguizamo's annoying in this movie. I commend him for committing to the role, for being on his knees the whole time and doing that voice. But the whole time he's annoying. He's farting. He's eating disgusting things. He's licking people's faces with that CGI tongue. Oh my god, that looked horrendous. And he's singing and he's just in everybody's face. It's just really, really painful. It's cringe. This is just as stupid as the Venom movies that came out. There's a difference between lighthearted, like Infinity War Endgame and the first two Avengers, and like being just obnoxious. I never saw an Avengers movie and say, you know what, that character's obnoxious, kill him off. No, with Leguizamo's clown, it's just too much. Spawn creator Tom McFarlane makes a cameo as a homeless man. Yeah, I know. I noticed that. The comics have got to be better than this. Yeah. The critical response. The critical response. Yeah, and you think I'm being harsh. A 17% on Rotten Tomatoes. The consensus is Spawn is an overbearing, over-violent film. Not really that violent, there, guys. There's not a lot of blood in it. This film needed an R rating. Blade came out a year after this, and it was much better. And even though that also has some dated CG, it's still a better movie than this. At least the fight scenes and the R-rated violence is there, and Blade can say cuss words and not hold back. This movie was holding back. You can't make a PG-13 movie about a Hellspawn or a Ghost Rider. It doesn't work, guys, because you're just neutering the character. These are supernatural characters. Making them PG-13, you can't market this for kids. And yes, they marketed the toys for me. When I was a kid, I used to see the Spawn toys on TV in the mid-90s. And I wanted one. That adds little to the comic book genre. Yeah, it adds nothing. This is what these bad Sony movies have been. Morbius, Venom, and Venom 2, Let There Be Carnage. They're just cringeworthy dialogue and boring and just neutered PG-13 films. Roger Ebert liked this movie. I don't know what he was smoking. He must have been on some good freaking weed at that time. Rest in peace, by the way. 3.5 out of 4 stars. The film's plot was sappy and a little more than the setup for some of the innovative effects of the era. The makeup effects, yes. The CGI is horrible. Spawn's cape looks terrible. Like I said, the scenes with Malbolgia. talking like this. It's awful. It's awful. It looks like bad PS1 graphics. So much that spawned versions on surrealistic art film. Oh, it's surreal, alright, because I couldn't believe that they got away with making these horrible effects on the big screen. As a visual experience, Spawn is unforgettable. Yeah, I'll forget. I won't forget how bad the CGI was, or how bad the cringeworthy dialogue was. Violator, or the freaking the forgettable villains like Martin Sheen and poor Melinda Clarke was dragged into this. A gorgeous woman, but she was wasted here. She dies like a third of the way through, so you don't even get TNA in this. Gene Siskel, at the movies disagreed, said that the film lost him in a mere 2 minutes. Yeah, the opening is freaking weird. It starts with a narration, and then there's fire everywhere. The transitions go to flames like it's freaking Ghost Rider. No, wrong superhero. That's a different superhero. And yes, that's a better movie than this. I saw Ghost Rider in the theater, and while it's flawed, it's better than this freaking movie because it got the gist. It wasn't a cartoon all the time. Yeah. Ebert praised the hellscape imagery and accused Siskel of being dismissive because of the genre, but having liked Batman, Siskel was unconvinced. Yeah, Batman 89 came out several years before this, and that looks better. Even though some of the movie looks dated, it doesn't have this horrendous CGI. They don't have the Joker, like, shooting Jack Palance and then just CGI blood. No, they use practical way more in that than this. David Cabinet called the film the summer's most spectacular concoction of visuals and color, but said that the unfamiliar with the comics might find the story difficult to follow. I never read a Spawn comic in my life. I've seen it in the comic book stores, but he has a cool look. But even the lead in this movie said that he wasn't a fan. Michael Jai White is not a fan of the film. There is no footage of me ever saying that I like Spawn. I have never said that, and I thought that was a good movie. The Gozama comment of the film, the thing that Tom McFarlane brought to the comic industry, which he saved in the early 90s, was the edge. Yeah, but the edge is gone because of the PG-13. Yeah, I'm sorry I have to do that. But yeah, it's a waste of a good premise. It really is. The darkness, the vulgarity, the violence. I think the movie would have profited for more violence. Yeah, an R rating. It helped Deadpool. It helped Logan. It helped Blade. It even helped Watchmen. Because if you neuter Watchmen, it's a PG-13 Marvel movie or DC movie without the edge. And this would have benefited from an R, just like Bloodshot needed an R. Some films are just meant to be R-rated for not for kids. Why do parents think that anything superhero related or animated is for kids? No, it's not. Check out a Miyazaki movie from the early 90s. Or the mid-90s, like Princess Mononoke, which came out the same year as this, and it got critically acclaimed. Because it's hand-drawn animation, not this god-awful CGI. Complex Magazine, this is spun at number 2 out of 22 on its list of the best black superhero movies in film. The black people in this movie did not bother me. So, Sean, this is not a... Sean. I'm sorry, I don't talk to him anymore. Josh, birthday boy. The people being black in this movie had nothing to do with the plot. That was not the problem with this movie. The problem is they wasted this cast. Teresa Randall does nothing. Michael Jai White it looks like he's in pain for the whole movie, even before he's burnt. The Cyan is a cute little black girl. She doesn't do much in the film. The dog is cute. Blade, Black Panther, and freaking what else? And also Into the Spider-Verse is a much better movie than this. It has a flowing plot. I can understand what's going on. It has humor that fits. It's not cringe-worthy dialogue. The only thing that bothered me was some of the animation at the end, the flashy, seizure-inducing pink lights. Those were bad, but it didn't bother me. But anyway, yeah. There's been a Spawn sequel, in development hell, no pun intended, since 1998. But again, Blade was much better. And having a black lead is good. That's a good thing. Now that it's in everything now. It's in every Disney movie. It's in every freaking Marvel movie. Or somehow it's in every DC show. Or, they take a character that was white and make it black. It doesn't bother me unless it feels forced. Like making April O'Neil black in that new Ninja Turtles cartoon added nothing. They just want to be more woke and progressive and appropriating. Not everything needs to be appropriated. Here, it didn't feel like appropriation. It was ahead of its time, that concept of having a black lead. Nothing's wrong with that, guys. I'm all for that. Yeah. And it says, unlike Blade, which came later and was promoted based on the popularity of actor Wesley Snipes, happened to be based on the comics. Spawn was promoted basically on the popularity of MacFarlane, who I never heard of until years later. And no relation to Seth MacFarlane. Todd McFarlane is Canadian. Film critic Scott Mendelson says that Spawn and other films not only paved the way for films such as Black Panther, but that success of Black Panther represents a return to the status quo. Exactly. Black people can sell movies, guys. Yeah. The only reason that Top Gun Maverick made so much money is not because it's a white cast, because people liked it. It wasn't cringeworthy dialogue and unlikable characters. And there's some diversity in there. It's not a lot, but you gotta keep in mind, the first Top Gun was not an appropriated movie in the 80s. It was a white man's movie, basically. Anyway, this movie should have been better. I would have loved it if they had more the R rating and more and less of these horrible effects, because you see this makeup that they did, that the guys from The Walking Dead did, and it's wasted on this god-awful CGI. And even the plot makes no sense. Like, they're gonna release a virus into the world, like what's happening now with freaking monkeypox and all that, and COVID. Yeah, it hit a little bit too close to home. That's why I didn't see this movie when the pandemic started. And also, it's a dated movie. It looks good, like when there's no bad CGI in the film, it's shot well. The director knows how to shoot a film, but these effects people should be fired. They should never work again. I hope they didn't. Who did the effects on this? I gotta check, because this is ridiculous. This CGI is just, it was hurting me. Just like in that Almighty Thor movie from 2011. So if people say there's too much CG in the Marvel movies now, be grateful that we got CG that looks better than this. Because I hated Eternals. The CGI was not the problem with that movie. Oh God, no. It was not the problem. That was not the problem, guys. Because, yeah, while the CGI creatures are kind of forgettable, at least it looks well made. That's not the problem. This movie had so many problems with the production. You can definitely tell. No, that's the Spawn TV series. That was more like it, because it was R-rated and none of this foolishness. With the clown, like, blowing his head up and cracking jokes and singing and, annoying Spawn. It gets on your damn nerves. Him eating disgusting things like maggots. It's gross. It was grossing me out. It is a waste of a premise. Film editors, no, they did their job. Art direction, what art direction? Just the buildings, costume design, makeup effects, production. Who did the effects? Second unit director, sound, special effects. Oh my God. Like 10 people worked on the effects in this, and this just looks really bad. Oh my God. Digital effects artist, yeah, you should be fired. Bruce Brannan, I don't even know who you are. But ILM did not do the effects here, and I could definitely tell. Because this is Mortal Kombat Annihilation bad CGI. It really is. And it takes me out of the movie, because I'm like, people are talking, and then there's like these freaking binary code red capes that are covering the whole screen, and it looks terrible. I don't know what they were thinking. I'm going to put that in my review. WTF. What the hell they were thinking with this movie. It's a bad movie. If you've never seen it, skip it. It's on Netflix, but it'll be gone after August 31st. This wasn't needed. This movie should have been a lot better than it was. And the fact that it was released in theaters, I'm surprised people didn't see those effects and laugh at how bad it was. Because it looks bad. And trust me, take my word for it. It is bad. And it's a badly written movie, and it needed the R rating to have an edge. But anyway, that's my thoughts on the 1997 Spawn movie. It's horrendous. It's not the worst thing ever. I wouldn't even put it in my top 10 worst comic book movies, but it's a disappointment. And it's worse than some of the DC stuff now, because at least those, even when they fail, at least they have some good merit, and they're not cartoons mostly. This is just too much. But anyway, thanks for watching. Take care, and I'll see you guys in the next review.